Fair, unbiased and non-discriminatory recruitment is important to every organisation. Not only because of the legal obligation under the Equality Act, but because good recruitment and selection leads to an effective and motivated workforce.
I thought this woman looked strong, good experience, and she's worked a lot with spreadsheets.
Let's take another look at the guy with the engineering degree.
I think it's important that we take the time we need to make the right decision.
Agreed.
She's got a degree in psychology and 8 years' experience.
Yeah, before she had the kids.
Diana's the boss, and she seems to think we should go for the woman.
Now, the last thing I need is another woman who might go and get pregnant.
I thought I did pretty well in the interview. I really thought I got it.
The majority of employers will have recruitment processes and procedures in place, which usually include creating a role description, a person specification, and an application form. From the moment we set about drafting these documents, we need to ensure that the experience, skills, attributes or personal information we are asking for does not unfairly disadvantage or exclude certain groups.
And this guy too?
Yeah, he's okay, but I thought he looked a bit old, really.
We also need to ensure that our organisation is fully equipped and accessible for those who require additional facilities.
Hi, hello. My office is upstairs, so I'll just get the lift.
In documentation and advertising, it's best to avoid phrases like young and dynamic, would suit someone who has just qualified, minimum of 5 years' experience. Even if we have taken every care to ensure our documentation and job adverts are fair and non-discriminatory, when it comes to the interview process, we must be aware that it is in human nature to stereotype. We all carry unconscious bias, which we need to make sure is not influencing our decision-making. Professor Binna Kandola and Dr. Nick Sale explain.
So when we look at someone, we're trying to put them into a box. And once they're in that box, we will start making assumptions about that individual, which is essentially predicting the way that we think they're going to behave.
So we might like to think that we haven't recognised certain things, or we're not taking into consideration certain things like their skin colour, their gender, whether they have a physical disability and their age. But the reality is that those are the 4 things that we will clock immediately about somebody.
It makes good business sense for an organisation's staff to reflect the diversity of its customers. An employer can use positive action programmes to help attract groups that may otherwise not apply for a role.
Say that we have an underrepresentation in social care and health, or our social services department with regard to black people. So we could actually run a positive action training program for people who are interested in taking up a career in this area, to introduce them to what is involved in social work. We could also run skills training programs and knowledge-based programs. However, what is important here, there is no guarantee of a job at the end of the training. What is important here is if we did have a vacancy, they have every right, like anyone else, to make an application, but they will be better prepared.
OK, well, let's start with Simon. He was Danny's recommendation, right?
Yeah, Danny said he's a great guy to work with, a real team player.
Well, he didn't come across that way in interview. If anything, he was a bit abrasive.
He was nervous, that's all. I'm sure I'd come across as abrasive if you were to interview me. No, I liked how he was straight and to the point.
I can see him rubbing people up the wrong way.
Nonsense. And we should be looking for someone who'll shake things up a bit.
If someone is not right for the job, then they are more likely to leave, which means the organisation will have not only lost time by training them, but will lose more time replacing and training a new employee. Fair, unbiased and non-discriminatory recruitment leads to an effective and motivated workforce.